Jessica Boone again, here in the College of Liberal and Applied Arts Academic Advising Center. One of the other important things you can do to get off of probation and stay off of probation is to learn to study. Studying for high school is not the same as studying for college. Studying for college has some strategy to it that's based on the way your brain receives and encodes information. Some specific tips that you should be employing. Take notes in class, by hand whenever possible. Not always possible every day for all of us. But if it is possible for you, please do it. Your brain does encode information better and differently that way. Once you've taken those notes, be sure to set aside some time to review them and fill in any gaps that you might recall. You should do this as soon as you can after class. Perhaps you have a 30-minute to a 1-hour gap between classes. You should be using that to review your notes and flesh out any bits and pieces that you recall from the lecture that day. You can also compare your notes with that of your classmates to make sure that everybody has a full picture of the lecture discussion from the day. Schedule your study time, which seems a little bit weird because in high school you had everything scheduled for you. You knew what time you were doing homework, you knew when it occurred during the day. But now in college, you're on your own and it's up to you to set those parameters. Set aside time each day to focus on each subject. The idea behind that is the more that you touch those neurons in your brain, the more you use those connections, the better you'll be able to recall that needed information. It's kind of like muscle memory, but for your brain. So be sure that you are studying a little bit each day for each class. Read the materials, do all the required readings. Sometimes that can seem overwhelming because sometimes those readings are kind of lengthy. If that's the case, break it up into manageable chunks if it seems overwhelming. Maybe you schedule 20 to 30 minutes to read a chapter of your book. Maybe you read a few paragraphs. Whatever works for you. We're all just a little bit different, but these tips and tricks are some of the best that you will have as far as making sure that you're succeeding in your class. You do have to be more intentional with your study time than you were in high school. That means making sure to get it on your calendar, making sure to stick to your calendar each day. And if you need some help with time management or learning how to study, consider calling the ARC to find out what their services are and what times, or stop by the ARC. Even better if you can stop by to visit them to see what services they offer and if they can give you some pointers and tips and tricks on how to study. You never know, one of those methods might work out to be just exactly what you need. So be sure to ask that question. Remember, structuring that study time is going to be key. You do have to study after class. Going to class just on its own is not going to be sufficient. You do have to do those readings. You do have to take notes. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to check in with me here in the advising office. You can reach me at 936 468 2205 or at purpledoors@sfasu.edu.